boss of the big cat sauce. Now, before I get to what we're going to do with this chat, I want to remind you that if you would like to get a copy of my book, and everybody's asking how to get it, I want you to go online, Amazon.com, or Barnes & Noble, or wherever good books are sold. The name of the book is called You Only Rock Once. And if you like these chats that I do, you will read how it all happened behind the scenes so I could do what I'm doing now. It's You Only Rock Once. That being said, I want to replay this show. This show is with a very special lady, not only in my life, but in your life. I met Dionne Warwick when she was doing backup with her sister Dee Dee and her cousin Sissy Houston. And you'll see that I'm replaying it for a reason. She finally has been nominated to be a part of rock and roll, being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You out there watching me, you can make it happen. You can vote for Dionne Warwick to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'm going to replay the interview that we did when she turned 80 years of age. And you will find out about why this young lady should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So enjoy the chat with Dionne Warwick. Let me tell you something. You are just as pretty as you were. Do you realize you and I now go back 60 years this coming year?
That's right. You sure do.
Dionne, you know, I told the audience out there, when I first heard that voice, you know, you and I go back with Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald. These were song stylists. And, you know, back with rock and roll, you had the Chantels, you had the Shirelles, you had the Chiffons, you know, you had certain sounds. Mm-hmm. But when Burt Bacharach said, come here, don't tell Florence I'm playing this for you. I said, why? She wants to release it with Tommy Hunt. I said, let me hear what you're talking about. He played Don't Make Me Over. I said, wow, this voice, who is this? He's the same age as you. She's 19 going on 20 when you made the song.
Yeah.
Back to Philadelphia. And from that moment on, when you appeared with me, I didn't see it. I mean, I knew about you and your sister and Sissy doing backup with the Shirelles and Nat King Cole and the Drifters. But when you were on that stage, you were like a Nubian queen to me. You were a and you haven't changed, Dionne.
Thank you, darling.
Now, let me go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I have changed. But, you know, it's a good change.
Well, you know, as we look back at all of the years, the lasting power, the talent that is still the God-given things, that's got to be amazing to you. From an early age, doing backup with Sissy and doing with your sister Dee Dee to where you are today. And you know, you and I have a big history. I go back to Hollywood when you did the movie with Stephen Boyd, The Slave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And right. Remember that? I mean,
yes.
It's got to be so fulfilling for you as you look back at all these years, and you are an international star.
Yeah, I've been around the world a couple of times.
Tell me about your vacation when you said to me, I said, Dionne, what are you doing? I'm on vacation. Tell the folks.
Well, I'm ready to give up the vacation. I'm ready now to get back to work and see some of my friends. You know what I'm going to do, Jerry? I'm going to sit this down because I'm holding it. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Hi, baby. Hold on. I'm with you.
See if I can get this to sit properly.
There you go.
Almost.
Ain't nothing you can't do.
Yeah, right.
Listen, December the 12th, for the people out there, it's the most famous day for singers. There was a skinny
Yeah,
kid
it
from
is.
Hoboken, and there
A
was a
couple
skinny
of
girl
kids.
from Jersey. Her name was Connie Francis, and his name was Frank. But then there was a lady by the name of Dionne. December the 12th.
Right. That's exactly right. You
And
know,
listen, he'd call you every year and say, Yo, Dionne, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Call me every single year. I get flowers. It was a wonderful conversation. Yeah, he was my poppy.
Yeah. I remember when your mom and you were appearing in Atlantic City and you came
Hmm.
over to my place memories and my mother cooked for your
Yeah.
mom and you and Frank was in the garden with Jilly. Remember
Uh-huh.
that? When Jilly was
Yeah.
in the garden? So many of our greats are no longer here, Dion.
I know. I know.
Yeah. You know,
Miss him a lot too.
yeah. Sammy, December the 8th, he was born December the 8th,
Yeah.
and he would have been 94 years old
I
today.
know.
had he
I
lived.
know.
And tell me about those days for the audience when it was really show business, T.
Oh, I can't tell you. I was brought into what it was considered real show business
Right.
by the icons of the industry. I was privileged to sit in the dressing room of people like the entire Rat Pack, Sammy and Frank and Peter Lawford and Joey Bishop, all of them, and I would hear stories that they would tell to each other and jokingly and seriously.
Yeah.
Lena Horne and Ella Fitzgerald and
Yeah.
Diane Carroll and Sarah Vaughan. I mean, it was like I was in the college of show business.
You were a young kid back then.
Yes, I was a baby, and they embraced me and mentored me and decided that I was their baby,
Yeah.
and they were going to make sure that I did nothing that I was not supposed to do. And I wanted to work in the same places that they all worked in, and eventually I was able to do that. I wanted to look like the ladies that mentored me, the regality that they had, and eventually I made myself look like that. It was just one of the most amazing things that could have ever happened to me.
It was a magical time back then, if you recall. And
Hmm.
when someone in show business saw something in you that they saw in themselves, man, they just embraced you. It was the honesty. And I feel badly for young people today that don't have the mentors, Dionne, that
Yeah.
you think about that. And I want to go back to the beginning. Then we're going to talk about the album with you and Johnny. And by the way, Mathis considers you to be one of his ladies.
Yes,
She is
I,
one of my ladies.
I adore him. I really do. I do. We've been friends for so many years, and he's just been just above and beyond. He's just always there.
Whose idea was it for this wonderful album?
My son, Damon.
David,
I love David.
wait. You did the Thanksgiving Day parade with me in Philly, and David sang with you.
Damon.
Damon, right?
Yes.
He was just a little guy.
Yeah.
I met him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He produced the last four or five CDs of mine.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Does he know? Did he? Well, no, he was just a little boy. I mean, when I'm going back, because I go back at the Latin Casino when you appeared there, and they had, ladies and gentlemen, they sold everything out. You had to do another show. They kept moving for another show, and Sammy then followed you, and Sammy said, "Man, She got another day and I didn't get another day. Damn, don't make me over. How did the association with Bert and Hal happen back in the day?
You know, I met them while I was doing background work and demonstration records.
Right.
And Hal and Bert had just consummated their partnership as writers and asked if I would continue to do demonstration records of songs they were writing. And I did. And they wrote a song for the Shirelles, actually.
Yeah.
And sent it to Florence Greenberg. She didn't want the song. She wanted the voice. And the voice was me. And that began our relationship. They became my producers. And I was their client.
You know, I said to you before, you know, Hal and Bert got together when they did a song for Perry Como. Okay,
Yes.
Magic Moments.
Magic Moments, yes.
They worked together. They wrote separately, but you were the hand that they needed to fit the glove. And that glove and hand together was just something that will never, ever be again. You complemented the lyric and the arrangement, and they did other things with other artists, not taking anything away. But yours was the signature sound of Burt Bacharach and Hal David. And you know, I got into an argument with Florence Greenberg about when I played. She said, I don't want to lose her and Dee Dee and Sissy. They're the best backup singers we've got. I said, listen, Florence, you can't keep a kid like Dionne Warwick down. That's a spiritual voice. That's got to be heard. You know, and she did the same thing when you did Make It Easy on Yourself.
Yeah.
You had Make It Easy on Yourself. She didn't want to release it. So Bert did it with Jerry Butler.
Yeah.
You know, but it just goes to show you the perseverance. And in life, for young people out there watching me, if you have a passion to do what you want to do, like your son has been with you, go for it. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Dee?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I like I tell both of my babies, you know, I've been able to assist them in many ways. You know, I can in most cases open the door, but guess who's got to walk through it?
Right, right.
And they both understood that. So they honed their crafts and to the point that they were accepted, and they're both doing great.
You know, one of my favorite songs, I don't know if the audience knows, and it's on the Warner Brothers thing that you did. And
Yeah.
I didn't mean to love you.
Yeah.
I mean,
God.
you hit that note. And the lyric, I'm going to play it. We go off for the audience. Waking up in the morning, lying next to me. I mean, Dionne Warwick, the soul of what you feel is in the voice. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. And, you know, when you're able to sing words that are meaningful and powerful as the ones that I've been able to sing, you know, the emotion itself takes over. You know, it's a wonderful, wonderful way of presenting music to people.
Mm-hmm. And it all came from gospel.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think that's the primary reason that I understand the lyric the way that I do, because you know, gospel music is that of the Bible, and understanding what you're singing about in the Bible is very, very important. And that's why the first primary thing that I look for in any song is, what am I saying? You know, it's very, very important that I'm sending a message that is meaningful and has substance to it.
You know, out of all of the songs, and I love A House Is Not a Home.
Yeah.
I mean, things that, and that's another interesting thing when I've spoken to Bert, who's probably watching this, by the way.
Yeah.
The thing that happened, as you know, when they went out to Hollywood and started to do all those things for the movies, and then Promises, 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 which really
Yeah.
they split from each other because of the movie industry. You lived in Hollywood for a period of time,
Yeah.
and now you're back at home, at your home,
Yes.
and about to go off vacation. But did you like living in LA at that time? It was a whole different world, wasn't it?
Yes, it was completely different. I remember vividly how pleasant it was my first visits to Los Angeles.
Mhm.
It wasn't as crowded. I tell you what, I truly believe kind of took the complete shine off of the glitz of Hollywood. It has to be when East Coast people decided to move out west. And well, we know how we are on the East Coast. We're very, very aggressive. We're very, very anxious. You know, even the laid back feel that Los Angeles always had at one time, it got lost.
Yep.
You know, all the hurry, scurry, berry, and honey, sugar baby kind of stuff happened because East Coast people moved out there and changed everything. I mean, truly changed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
You lived on Sunset.
and
You lived on
yeah,
Sunset. Remember, I visit you, and we go to Bumbles, and we go to the factory.
that's
Remember
right.
those little places?
Yeah,
But you know, you are an East Coast kid. I mean, just
I
like
sure am. I really am. You know, and I missed it. I really did. I missed it. I got to the point where I was living in jeans, and I said, what am I doing? That's not what I was brought up to do. You know, wear my skirts and blouses and things of that nature. I'm not a t-shirt child, you know. And so I'm back to being Dionne.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Gladys said to give your love, Gladys Knight.
Yeah,
I mean, you two go way back.
yeah, we do. Go back right to the very beginning of my career.
Yes, she did with every beat of my heart. If you remember, here comes the letter for the tears.
Yeah.
You know, and you know she is going to do the Malt Shop Memories cruise with me this
Oh,
year. You remember?
terrific.
Yes, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you walked out on stage, Dionne did the Malt Shop Memories cruise. Also, Priscilla Clark did the cruise. So many of the great, Frankie Valli did the cruise. Neil Sedaka, the Beach Boys. But when I introduced Dionne, place is packed. I said, ladies and gentlemen, you know about royalty. You know about international royalty. You know we've had the 2 o'clock. But this is truly not only international royalty. This is the voice of America's royalty. And when you came out, they had a standing ovation, and the ship started to rock a little bit. Remember that?
Yeah. And you almost lost me, I'll tell you that. It's like, oh, no, you promised it wasn't going to do anything like that.
Throughout all the years, I think about the fun that we used to have. You know, as you look back right now, when you were singing with Dee Dee and back with Sissy, did you ever really think that you would be where you are today?
No, not at all. You know, I don't think any of us did. You know, we were doing, when I say us, I'm speaking basically of Bacharach and David and myself. We were doing things musically that nobody was doing. You know, it was so different from anything else that was being recorded or played. And we came during an era of the groups, basically. And there are very few females who were out there at that time. You know, I remember Mary Wells, of course, was one of the singles. Kim Weston.
Arthur Reed.
Then, of course, you had the Priscilla Clark and Dusty Springfield and those gals. But there were no black female single artists at that period in time. There were very few of us. So we kind of paved the way for a lot of us to decide, okay, it's okay to be a single recording artist. But the kind of music I was doing was so different than anybody else's.
Right.
I think that really had a lot to do with why people gravitated to me. You know, they were hearing something that was not quite of the norm, you know, and they didn't mind it. They liked it. So, you know, that was the advantage that Bacharach David and I had.
But you know, you said it earlier, it was a storyline, and that really came from as you were singing gospel to the Lord. There is a story. And
Oh, yeah.
see, many people, we all talk about Bert, but Hal's lyrics,
There you go.
as the lyricist,
Yes.
you agree on that?
Absolutely. I've never called him a lyricist. I've always called him a poet.
Yeah.
Hal wrote words that anybody could say and anybody would understand. He wrote to the heart, not at it. And I've always felt that about his words. I felt so privileged to be able to sing his words because they had meaning, they had substance, and they were words that everybody enjoyed listening to, you know, or wanting to say themselves. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, and he really spoiled me because that is the first thing I look for in a song. What am I going to be saying?
Out of all of the things that you recorded, what is your favorite that hit home to you? From
Oh my, they're just too many. You know, I think with each growing year, there's something else that comes along that you sing or say that has great meaning. So there is not just one or two. No, I've always looked at my songs as my babies.
It's so funny because Smokey said that to me because you know he had in Philadelphia. I mean, I played everything because I had the freedom. And Bad Girl, Ooh Baby, Baby, Fork in the Road. He said, Geator, it's like your children. Which
Yeah.
one do you love better?
You can't.
You
Love them all.
You know, I think Keely had a question. What do you got?
Well, no, I just wanted to make a comment. I remember when you interviewed Dionne for the TV show,
Right.
and you said, "How do you want to be remembered?" And she said, "I want to be remembered as a singer of great songs." And I said, "That's what makes you stand out above everybody else." Sinatra was the same
Wow.
way. And that's why you guys are in a class of your own, because it's not about your voice, as magnificent as your voice is. It's about getting across the emotion of the song and the message of the song. That's why I love what you said about Hal David.
Yeah. Well, you know, but we also spoke with Frankie Valli. Back then, Dionne, when you went into the studio, you did it all there.
Yeah.
Today, it takes them a year and a half before they even do anything. Now, you know the way Frank recorded. He'd go in, bop, 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 bop. Okay, I'm getting out of here. Boop, 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 boop. You either got it or you didn't get it. He'd give you another shot. That was the true emotion. How can you go back in the studio over and over? You're going to lose the real soul of a one take or a two take or a three take.
Yeah, I know. I know.
The whole thing is completely.
It's mind-boggling. The method of recording these days, and we've lost the element of live musicians.
Mhm.
Everything is a computer. You know, nobody really has emotional support within the live musicianship that accompanies a singer. And so and I still record live.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, or I don't record. I can't sing to a computer.
No, that's why you and I want to just hold you. You know what I'm saying? I want to take you to dinner. You know, we're living with robots. We're being controlled by robots. I mean, it's stuff like that.
It's true. True.
Oh my God. How How did you get Damien involved with singing with you? How'd that happen?
You know, I didn't know he could sing. And many years ago, he started trying to play the piano,
Mhm.
and he plays a pretty good guitar. And he was sitting in the living room playing piano and singing. And I didn't know who was in the house singing at the point in time. And I called down and said, "Who's that in the living room singing?" And he didn't answer me. He just stopped playing and stopped singing.
Wow.
So I said, "Oh, well, maybe that must have been a tape or something like that."
Mhm.
And a few minutes later, he started playing and singing again. And I came downstairs and saw him sitting at the piano playing and singing. I said, "Is that you singing?" He said, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "I didn't know you could sing." you know. So, just one thing led to another. And I finally decided, I said, "Well, I'm getting ready to do a duet CD. I want you to sing with me on it."
Wow.
I can't do that. Yes, you can.
Well, he did a Thanksgiving, boy, and he nailed it with
He
you.
was amazing. He was so wonderful.
Hey, tell me about the Spinners with Tommy Bell. Now, there's the connection in Philadelphia when you were doing the stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, Tom and I have been friends for quite a long time.
Mhm.
And there were a few songs that he and Linda wrote for me and submitted to Bacharach and David. And of course, they decided, well, no, we're our sole producers and songwriters. So, and then all of a sudden you heard a little group called the Stylistics that sounded an awful lot like Dionne Warwick.
Yes.
You'll
never get to heaven.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, even the beginnings when Tom was producing them. And in fact, somebody asked me, "Do you have any record out?" And I said, "No." There's something called about By Golly Wow or whatever that is. I said, "No." Mm-hmm. And I said, "No, I don't." So I finally heard it on the radio. And DJ, of course, said, "That was Thom Bell production of Stylistics, Picture By Golly Wow," and da-da-da-da. And I called Bert immediately. I said, "Have you heard the Stylistics?" And he said, "Yeah, I heard them the other day. I was listening to the radio." I said, "Well, Mr. Thom Bell is on your butt. He has taken your type of music and has brought it into the Urban League.
Yeah.
So you better get your act together because Mr. Bell is on you." And Bert didn't like it at all, of course, but it was the truth. Tommy had taken everything that I was used to hearing from Bert and took it to another level. He made it a little browner than the vanilla that we were utilizing in the songs I was singing.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom and I became friends. He said, "I sent those songs to you." I said, "No, you didn't." He said, "Yes, I did. But they were turned down." And I said, "Well, our loss. That's all I can say." And from that day till right this minute, we are very, very dear friends.
And you work together with big hits. I mean, with the Spinners and things that
Yeah.
Yeah,
he produced Track of the Cat for Warner's for me while I was at Warner Brothers. Tommy's a very talented young man, and funny as all get out. He's crazy as a Looney Tune. He's just a wonderful young man.
Yeah. Well, he's singing with the Romeos with Kenny Gamble back in the days.
I know.
Yeah. But
he's a brilliant musician.
Yeah. When you worked with the Spinners, when you recorded, were you all in the studio together, or you did your?
Oh yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we just consummated a summer tour together. And I took them into Vegas for the first time. They opened my show for me at the Riviera Hotel.
Yeah.
And our closing night, Tommy was sitting in the audience. And he came backstage after the show was over. He says, I'm so happy for you guys. It's been a wonderful tour. I've been watching the reviews, and I've got a gift for you. And we all said, oh, wonderful. What is it? Very excited about a gift from Thom Bell, you know. And he says, yes, I have a song for you. And it was Then Came You. And he said, I'd like to take you in the studio tomorrow. We'll leave Vegas, and tomorrow evening we'll go in the studio in Los Angeles and record this song. And we also, of course, I guess you could say the rest is history. As it turned out, it was during that period of time that I was no longer, with Bert and Hal.
Right.
And had not had any real records of any substance. Then Came You was my very first #1 recording nationwide, internationally. The very first #1. Most people think everything I recorded was #1. No. This was my very first and only #1 recording at that time.
What was it?
Then Came You.
Listen.
And it was during a period of time too that most people were saying, the naysayers, oh, what's she gonna do now, Jeff? Now Bert Hal, what's she gonna do? How's she gonna do? Blah, 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 baby. Well, they found out.
Listen, God gave you that talent.
Exactly.
The glove in the hand. You get a right producer. Look, it's like an actor. You could be the greatest actor in the world. You get a director that don't know how to direct you with a bad script. Forget it.
Exactly.
You just left LA and he never came back.
That's true. So true,
Tell me about the thing with the world, thing you did with Stevie and all of the wonderful artists at that time.
Oh, We Are the World? My God. What an event, because that's exactly what that was, an absolute event. I was appearing in Vegas at the time that was being put together. And I got a call from Quincy. And he said, listen, I'm going to need you in the studio tomorrow. I said, Q, I can't just leave Las Vegas and be in the studio tomorrow evening. I'm working. He said, oh, don't worry about that. I'll make that happen. I said, oh, really? Well, that evening after that show, Steve Wynn came into the dressing room. He said, well, are you going to be going to Los Angeles in the morning? I'm sending you up on my plane. I said, and why am I going to Los Angeles? He said, because I got a call from Quincy Jones. And he said he needed you. So I said, oh, okay. So I flew into Los Angeles. And that evening was also the American Music Awards. And everyone that was at the American Music Awards was a part of We Are the World, as it turned out. They left the award show, came directly to A&M Studios, and we were just all there. It was just one of those magical happenings.
Magical.
Absolutely. And it was so wonderful because we all got to see each other. We hadn't seen in quite a while. Everybody's going in different directions, of course. And so it was a homecoming for all of us too, It was really wonderful. And then it was a kind of happening, because most people do ask me the same question. How was it? What was it like? It was one of those you had to be there and really to describe how it was. And there's no description for it.
Dionne, I've said it to the audience. We are really a family. I may not see you for a year or a couple of years. You may not see Gladys. You may not see all of the wonderful people have been, but we're family. And
that's right.
We're no different than them. We're blessed because of the fact we've been able to take whatever God-given talent we've had to express to them. But we have sadness. We have sickness, especially during this crazy world today, pandemic. But they realize that our job is to make people happy.
That's right.
And we become fulfilled with doing that.
Oh, yeah. I say it all the time, but people, it makes me feel wonderful, and you know, I give the very best I can at all times anyway. But you know, to look into my audience and see a smile, or see the arm go around the shoulder, or somebody grab a hand, or people singing with me, you know, that's the joy that seems to be permeating the room. You know, it's something that people have come to do, to enjoy, and have a good time. And that's really what it's all about. And that's what music does.
You know, I love you because you're just, when I was just 19 going on 20, and I heard that voice. And I had known Dee Dee and I had known Sissy with all the backup singers back then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that voice. And when you appeared on that stage with 1,000 teenagers, because it's the first time you ever appeared at a record hop. And when
That's right.
you were on stage and those kids were cheering, and I looked at you, I said, not only is the voice the beauty, but look at you. I mean, and you still possess that smile, that love that I saw 16 years ago. Nat King Cole. We spoke about Nat. Remember years ago with Nat? You did some backup with him?
No, I met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him. Mm-hmm. I did the last benefit that was done for him. And it was being held at Carnegie Hall. I'll never forget as long as I live. And Maria she had put this whole thing together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had met her. I was at some kind of one of those dinners that we all have to go to every now and then. And she happened to be there. And she approached me and asked if I would be a part of this benefit. And I said, of course I will. You know, Nat King Cole? Yes. You know, it was like, you think you have to ask me? You just tell me. You will be there. And as it turned out, it was just one of those magical evenings. So it's his last days on Earth with us.
Yeah, you know, Nat was, you know, I had the pleasure of meeting Nat. I'll give you a great story. Sammy, Billy Eckstein, and Nat King Cole.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sammy was appearing at the Schubert years ago in Philadelphia. And if you remember, Billy was doing some duets with Sarah Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
On Mercury. And Quincy, by the way, was producing all of that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So Sammy said to me, I must have been, my gosh, I had to be maybe about 18. He said, man, I'm going to have dinner tonight. He said, somebody's going to come and see the show. And it was Billy Eckstein and Nat King Cole. Right before Nat passed in the early, maybe it was 1961, maybe right about that.
Uh-huh.
And what gentlemen. The class of but Billy and Nat King Cole. See, but you're from that school.
I was fortunate enough to be able
to Washington's. Will we ever see that era again, Dionne?
I don't know. I don't know. It's an era that you know is it's been lost, unfortunately. And I think it's because the babies today, you know, and I've said it so many times, and it's just what I have observed. These babies think that they invented show business. You know, they don't have to stand on the shoulders of anyone who came before them. You know, and I keep saying it, and eventually somebody's going to hear me. The fact that people like Gladys and Patty and myself, we put enough years into this industry and were mentored by those whose shoulders we're standing on, that our shoulders have broadened to the point that, you know, we can carry a few of you guys, you babies, to give you a little bit of inspiration and guidance as to what we learned, that you might be able to use. They all feel, no, you're old school and we don't need you, and I really do. And I've told several of them, yeah, I am old school, you're right. But there had to be an old school before there was a new one.
Listen, you gotta always honor those who came before you.
Absolutely.
Those who came before you teach you where you're gonna go.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what young people gotta understand. They didn't invent this. You and I didn't invent it, but we looked upon the others who came before us, and we emulated, and we wanted to be like them. And
that's right.
We praised their talent. You see,
no doubt.
People gotta understand all that stuff today.
I know, but it's they've been fed a lot of stuff by those who presented them. What they've been given so much at such an early stage, an early age. Money has been just thrown at them that they've accepted, and without any guidance whatsoever. And some of them have utilized it very well. I must say that. We have some brilliant youngsters who have taken time to watch a few people that they wanted to look like or be or have the power of. So they have used their brains in that instance. But they can be counted on one hand.
And another thing comes to my mind here. We perfected our act by actually working live at casinos and at shows and at theaters.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids today, the monetary value is so big you can't even afford some of
That's
these.
true.
And when they're working, they're not working in an atmosphere you've got maybe 800 people or 1,000 people where you can reach out to these people.
Right.
We learn from working all little spots, as you remember going back.
Absolutely. And, the intimacy of that and being able to reach people on an intimate basis, almost one-on-one, and when you look at these coliseums and baseball stadiums and soccer fields, and I mean, who are you really reaching? Touching,
that's the word. Who are you really reaching? I mean, when you're on stage, when back in the day, especially the Sepia circuit, man, all those clubs in Detroit and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and Chicago, the Flame Show Bar in Detroit, the audience was right there.
That's right.
You knew what you did right and what you did wrong. And you affected the act back in those days.
That's right. But not today.
No.
There's no such animal.
Listen, we got to sing happy birthday to you. Ready, Keel?
Okay.
Now listen, Frank is not here. Sammy.
No, he's not.
Jay Siegel and Little Anthony both sang happy birthday to you the other day.
So this is going to be Sonny and Cher.
Kevin has it. Kevin will show it to you.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dionne. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Listen, when will I see you? When will I see you again? Now, listen.
Hopefully very soon. I hope this pandemic thing will just dissipate and go away. And now they have this vaccine that they're getting stick in everybody's arm. Hopefully that'll be a way of alleviating some of this.
Last year, I asked you, do you want wine or macaroni for your birthday? What do you want to do?
Oh, you know what?
The wine?
This is my birthday gift right now. Okay. Just being able to speak and be with you for this period of time. Aww. That's my gift. Thank you.
Listen, you know that you are a special lady all of my life. I mean, You know that. I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah.
And I want you to be safe. Give your son a big hug and tell him to follow in the footsteps of what you created, because what you created, nobody can except someone that has the same soul as you. So,
Yeah.
Dionne Warwick, thank you.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful.
Thank you, sweetheart. You take good care.
Thank you.
Stay well. And when I see Gladys, because
Yeah.
we'll do the cruise together, I'll say, Gladys, if its ship starts to shake a little bit, it's like Dionne said, whoop, hold on for a second. And you still keep on singing. Thank you, baby. Thank you very
Okay. Take care.
You are so wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
I love Dionne Warwick.
She's wonderful. She's amazing.
Love Dionne, the soul that she has. You could see it in not only the music, but ladies and gentlemen, you just saw something that, in my opinion, you've seen me do many chats with many of the great artists. But here is a woman who started from gospel, sang, as you know, with Sissy, her aunt, sang with her sister Dee Dee, and was able to elevate herself to become an international star. And I think after watching this interview, you will understand why. She is humble, as most great performers are. She is passionate about what she does. And more than that, she knows that the mission in life that she had was to sing and make people happy. And that's the story of Dionne Warwick, who turns 80 years old, December the 12th. Connie Francis, December the 12th. Frank, December the 12th. And please remember the music that they have created and what I do by playing their music will always be what this country is about. Music brings people together regardless of race, color, creed, or religion. And when you have music, it speaks for your heart. It speaks for where we were, where we are, and where we should go. So with that, before I leave you, I want you to be safe. And I also have to acknowledge that every day I get a call that one of our listeners, one of our dancers has passed away. Kenny Jeremiah, as you know, from the Soul Survivors, passed from this pandemic. I talk about the Trenton girls, who I love. Mary Ann just passed away. Len Barry, so many of the great stars. But I want you to know I love you, and I will be with you soon. As soon as we're able to dance, as soon as I am able to do what I do, because I'm a people person. Without you, life is very, very dull. Without music, it's very, very dull. So please be safe, stay safe. And before I leave, we got hoodies coming your way. Where do you see the new hoodies we've got for you? Okay. And remember the Malt Shop Memories Cruise. This is going to be a great cruise. And as every one of the artists have told you, it's like a homecoming for everybody. Gladys will be on it. Bill Medley will be on it. Everybody will be on this cruise. So please book the cruise, Malt Shop Memories Cruise.
MaltShopCruise.com.
Malt Shop is my producer. MaltShopMemories.com.
No, MaltShopCruise.com.
MaltShopMemoriesCruise.com. I hate this modern technology. David, thank you. Joel, wherever you are, if you're in space, because I can't reach you half the times. Thank you. And again, thank you all. And Dionne Warwick. Bye.
Is love, sweet love.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Dionne Warwick.
It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb, and there are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Glory don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow, and there are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Won't you listen, Lord, if you wanna know? If you wanna know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, oh, but just for everyone.
Needs now is love, sweet love.
It's the only thing that there is just too little love. What the world
Needs now
needs now is love,
sweet love.
sweet love. No, not just for some, oh, but just for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.